Hey guys, welcome. I'm Rob Tatro with my brother Charlie. This is another edition of the Running Journey, an exciting one. We are getting that much closer to the holy grail of running, the Boston Marathon. 10 days away, 11 days away. We're in our last few training runs, and it's getting to that time when you start checking the weather for a race. So that's kind of some of the most exciting time when you can finally start checking the weather. What's the weather looking like? Let's start there. You've checked it 1,000 times, I'm sure.
I haven't checked it today. It's a little early, but yes, I'll be checking at least 100 times a day starting next week. I'm exaggerating, but
Snow in Hopkinton.
I know there's snow right now in Hopkinton. Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
Weather looks really nice, actually. So forecasts, from what unless it's changed drastically, um, the wind's kind of changing directions. Don't really know about the wind, but the high looks like it's going to be a reasonable number, like 12 to 15 Celsius, which is going to be nice.
Oh, that's awesome. 12 to 15. And that usually is until a little late in the day, right?
Yeah,
Like the highs
yeah,
usually at like 3 o'clock or something.
yeah. I think, yeah, around there. Yeah.
So morning, it's going to be, remind me what it's going to be in the morning. It's going to be like, okay, Monday the 15th, the high is supposed to be 15. The wind is going to be from the northwest, according to right now, 7 kilometer wind from the northwest. So
So
slight,
very light wind, and it's more most side, slightly helping maybe.
slightly helping side, but I'll tell you what, the day before, it's a 25 kilometer wind. And so, I mean, this is still a crapshoot, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The wind can change very easily. Yeah.
there's thunder showers next week, midweek, so like a few days before the race, on the Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and tons of humidity earlier. But that Monday, it's only 30% humidity, 7 kilometer wind, 15-degree high. That would be as good as it gets, pretty much, unless you get the wind in your
Uh,
back.
I'd be interested to know the low as well. Like the low is
Nine.
maybe 9, so that's a little warm to start, I would say. But I
It's
mean,
a
it's pretty much as good as you can get still. But
it's a warm
I'd prefer like a 4 low. But yeah,
it's a warm high for that week. Like the day before are set like it's colder now till then, and it kind of warms
yeah,
up, but you're expecting it to warm up in April. Like that's kind of supposed
yeah,
to
yeah. Of
happen.
course, yeah.
So you're
I mean,
checking the weather.
it's not 30 degrees Celsius, which is great.
So you're checking the weather pretty regularly. You're getting you're getting ready. You've got your race plan today. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk a little bit about how the training's gone. We're going to talk a little bit about race strategy. We're going to talk a little bit about some goals because we've not talked about all of this. So let's get into it, Charlie. How has the training gone for you the last couple weeks? So we ran 2.5 weeks, no, 4.5 weeks ago. We ran a 20 miler, a hard 20 miler together in Marchand. And I had said at the time my best training run ever. You had a really good one after. We recorded last week. You kept kind of killing it, right? You're like, it's gone. I
Oh
know you,
yeah, everything's gone fairly well. Yeah, I would say I haven't found a workout really hard to complete. Like I've done them all how I was supposed to, or even a little faster than I was supposed to, because everything's been feeling good. Um, so yeah, yeah, feeling.
this is
I mean,
comparable a little bit to like your Big Bear, a little bit how you felt.
yeah, a little bit. I feel like it's very similar, but the challenge ahead of me is a little bit more daunting. So it's similar, but at the same time, like I would say prior to Big Bear, I was very overconfident about achieving. Like I didn't say that to anyone, but like in my head, I was very confident about achieving the goal. This one, I'm still, it's still kind of a I hope I can do it
Yeah, but
type of
whoa,
thing.
whoa, the goal. Okay, the race are two independent events, and I don't think you can compare them to each other. You shouldn't. I'm just talking about how you feel. And yes, you're saying the goal, you knew you were going to hit it a lot more easier than you think you're going to hit this one. So the goal at that race was sub
I,
305 with a
I
stretch
was
goal
a
to
lot
sub
more
3.
I was a lot more confident I was going to achieve the goal at that marathon than this marathon. Yeah.
It's a lot easier race though. It's way
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
of a
yeah, yeah.
race.
Of
So
course, yeah.
so I don't think what did you say? It's 15 minutes slower, you think? this
Yeah,
one?
15 to 20 probably.
Yeah. So, yeah, doing a sub 3 in Boston is not easy. I think anyone who's, I don't know, anyone who's ever run it will tell you for sure it's a tough course.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is I'm feeling good about it, but I still think there's uh it could go either way still, right? So, which is great because that means I picked a good target. I
Right. You
feel.
you didn't go too easy or too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just a round number that you picked kind of out of the air. Well, you didn't
Yeah,
pick it out of
yeah.
the
It's
air,
kind
but
of a well, it's a yeah, it just happens to be um exactly 10,800 seconds.
10,800 seconds. Okay, so your training's gone well. You're now into full blown taper. You have one 12 miler left this weekend, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. No hill workout this week.
No hill workout, no nothing this week. That's like your Thursday jog's probably easy as well. Like what did you do today? Just a nice easy 10K or something.
Yeah, I had a tempo run on Tuesday, so besides that, pretty easy. Yep.
Saturday, Saturday you're gonna do run club.
Saturday run club should be fairly easy. Yep. But 12 miles feels like it's going to be like it's not even a workout at this point. Like that's kind of how it feels for me now. Like, but I don't know how you're feeling about these long runs.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Well, I know I can. I don't know if I'm gonna do my runs this weekend. I'm off running again now.
Oh, you're sick again, or what's the
Well,
problem?
he told me to not run. This cough is causing issues.
Oh,
So Patrick gave me another more days off. He said it's not gonna benefit you. So I can run. I just get the cough, any pace of any kind that I pick
yeah,
up. Like a cough starts coming, then the cough turns into pain in my core. The core turns into pain at night that I can't sleep, and then I can't recover, and then the next day I'm kind of shot. So I can run, like I can do
just
it.
easy runs though. Can you just do easy runs or?
Well, I did like a 9 minute miles and I was coughing. So I don't. He thinks a few days off here might be over the hump. I don't want to say he's got no clue, but it's been 70 days. 70 days I've been coughing. So they say on TikTok this thing is trending, the 100-day cough.
Oh,
So
hmm.
apparently it's a thing, the 100-day cough. So today, for the first time, I started thinking, what if this thing doesn't go away for Run with Rob? Like, what am I gonna do for that? How am I gonna figure that out? No sleep. I guess you just take meds, or I don't know what you do.
Well, yeah. So I was wondering, like, I mean, you if you take a nice neocitrin, that can help you sleep. I don't know. I like the
Yeah,
nighttime one.
I try to never take stuff just because I don't know, I got this weird thing about getting addicted to. When I was
Yeah,
younger,
yeah,
I was on T3s for a while, and I was like kind of borderline addicted to them, probably addicted to them, and I kind of scared me. And I know it's not the same thing, but I've just been scared. But yes, my sleep is going to be more important than any fear that I have about being addicted to something. So it's been shitty. It's been shitty for, I think I had 13 days off in March or 12 days off in March. And now this is my second consecutive day off here in early April. It sucks. It sucks
yeah,
big time.
yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't. I would just run. I can't not run. I don't know, but yeah, it's good that you're listening to your coach. Um,
Yeah, but I need to sleep though. Like I do
yeah, I
need my
know, I
sleep.
know, I know, yeah, I know. Yeah, I've never experienced what you're experiencing right now. I've experienced colds, but colds, they doesn't. What I've done when I've had colds, though, I mean, it's not like yours, but I'm not scared of using Neocitrin to help me fall asleep. But
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So, anyways, tomorrow I'm supposed to take a nice, easy 5K jog or something, and then the colder it is outside, the harder I think. This is totally
yeah,
anecdotal.
well, it could be there's more moisture in the air when you're doing this colder runs, right? Relatively speaking, I
And
would
so I
imagine.
have no idea how I feel because the only unit of measure I've had lately is that 16 miler you and I did. When did we do that?
This Sunday, that was
Okay, that was this weekend.
yep.
Okay, So okay, we have
So
that
so that
done.
was a 9 miles at race pace. I mean, above faster than race pace.
Okay, so we did 16 miles. We did 1 mile warm up, 4 miles, minute, like
Five,
kind
five,
of
5 miles.
5 miles, 8 minutes, then 9 mile at seven. No, 6:50 we did.
It was slightly
6:48.
faster. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
6:48.
6:47, and the conditions weren't ideal. So like that was probably based on your power readings. There was probably like a six equivalent to like a 6:40 pace, I would
Yeah,
imagine, for 9 miles. I mean, so I think
that's the hardest I've worked, I think, in a workout for that long. I think. Do you think have you done a longer kind of fast finish than that?
yeah, when I trained for my first marathon, I didn't really understand how training worked, and I just did a 20 mile at
I,
race. Sorry,
I remember
22
that.
miles at race. 22 miles at my goal pace.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if I'm being optimistic, it's that that went pretty well, that 16 miler. So there's two things that's happening. One is that I need to just remember that I can't change anything. And then two is that I think I'm still in good shape. I think I'm still
Yeah,
in good shape. So I'm staying positive. I'm staying optimistic. It's going to be whatever the heck it's going to be. And I know I'm going to go hard that day and I'll just suffer after. And I'm not worried about that. It's not going to I don't think it's going to prevent me from doing what I want to do on race day. The only thing that I'm pissed off about is like this last month and a half here, like how many
yeah,
days off I've had, and I've missed some long runs, and I've missed the ability to work out. But anyways, I'm
yeah.
optimistic. So, uh, you want to start with goals? Let's start with goals, and then I'll get into the race strategy. You
I
have the
got a,
three.
I got a bit of a side tangent
Okay, tangent.
before
Yeah,
goals.
I will allow it.
So I was watching this video about the New York City Marathon, and it's like a guy in a GoPro camera the whole way, and and at mile 25, you can see Zdeno Chera is in the video and he's running. And at mile 25, there's a really funny part where he kind of accidentally bumps into another guy, and the guy pushes him, and then they kind of just Zdeno just stares him down, and the guy just backs off, and then Zdeno keeps running. So it is
I
kind of a funny movie. And sorry, the punchline here is that this is Rob's video with the GoPro, but we never noticed it when we were looking at the video. But when I watched it this week, it's kind of hilarious to see like Zdeno, like they almost had a fight.
Yeah, Zdeno likes to fight. So that video is up now on our YouTube channel. So
Yeah,
if you're listening to this, and if you want to see what the New York Marathon looks like, it's the entire race GoPro with commentary by yours truly, me and you, Charlie and I, and we talk strategy throughout. I don't remember what we talked about, random stuff, I'm sure, and race
yeah,
stuff. And 3 hours and 18 minutes, I think, was my time. So it's full. Watch it on our YouTube channel, and maybe watch it in fast forward 1.25 maybe. Not like 2. Don't watch it like at 2. Watch it like at 1.25. Yeah, I'm glad that video's up. It's fun to watch, and I'll do the same for Boston. We'll get a
yeah, yeah. We do talk about interesting things. Well, not. I mean, I don't know if that's a plus or a negative, but yeah, the merits of Zdeno's Hall of Fame career, things like that. But yeah, it's good. Anyways, so goals for the New York City Marathon was 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I missed it by a minute 40. But somehow I believe 3 hours for the Boston Marathon is in the cards.
okay.
How
I
about
think
you?
so. I think it's definitely in the cards for either both of us or one of us will hopefully have a good day. Maybe both of us. I don't know. I think it's in the cards. I did a 124 3 months ago, so that should be pretty darn close to a 3 hour half, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And I have a strong long engine, and you're doing like your workouts now are the best they've ever been. They're arguably better than mine, or at least as good as mine. And you've been consistent. You've not missed any. So like, if anyone's ready for this, you're definitely ready for this. I think, more ready for it like a month and a half ago, but I'm less ready now, I argue. But I think we're there. We've done what we had to do. So that's the goal. It's got to be to
Yeah,
break 3.
yeah.
So let's talk about the race itself. I'm going to share my screen here. There's a couple things. First off, there's the race itself. It starts out in Hopkinton. So this is a point-to-point race starting in Western Massachusetts or west of Boston, I guess. And it's almost exactly uh, north or east northeast. Is that correct?
Well, it's almost straight west of Boston, but it's slightly south. So the course goes almost directly east with a bit of a northern slant on it.
Here's the map itself. The big picture map on here is the official JetBlue course map starting at Hopkinton. There's a exit to 21A, 21B. There's a parking lot, state specters. I mean, you've looked at a few of these races online, and then there. This is kind of the bush, right? From what I recall, like it's not there. This isn't like it's not going to be like New
It's
York.
it's not the bush, but it's like suburby, I would call it. And like these are separate towns, right? So it's more like towns. Like it'd be like like for us it'd be like Steinbach
Okay, yeah,
type
yeah.
of thing.
So you start in
Um
Hopkinton, then you go to Ashland, then Framingham, then Natick, then Wellesley, then you kind of enter Boston, I imagine, the last 5, 6 miles, right?
yeah, well Newton's a big one. That's where the Newton Hills are. So that's the town of Newton. There's
Oh,
four
yeah, yeah,
hills
yeah.
on there. Then Brookline, which is really kind of Boston, but I remember going to Brookline to where there's US Open
Oh,
golf
yeah, 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 yeah.
happens there sometimes.
Yeah, Brookline.
Uh
Yeah.
yeah, and
There was
then
like a Ryder Cup or
Boston.
something that happened there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So there's a nice golf course there, I think.
So,
Um and yeah, so that's basically it. You go through these towns. It's really it looks really amazing from what I've seen on videos and things like that. It's basically straight, not too many sharp turns, slightly downhill. So yeah, looks like a really fun course to run.
talk about how we're going to get there in the morning and how that works and the race time and all that before we get into strategy for mileage.
Yeah, so we are both in wave one, fortunately. That means our start time's 10 a.m. Um, and our recommended, so we have hotels downtown near the finish line, and so the recommended method of transportation is that there are buses that pick people up downtown and bring them directly to the starting line. Our recommended pickup times based on our bib numbers or based on our wave is 6:45 a.m., which we need, which there are differing opinions on this, but that seems very early to me.
That sounds
If
like a
we,
Charlie New York early to me.
yeah. So if I do the math here, let's say the guy gets lost, and it takes us an hour and a half to
To
get
do
there.
26 miles on a
Yeah,
Sunday
apparently
morning?
it takes like an hour to get there,
Okay,
but
with no
let's
traffic.
say it's an hour and a half. Worst case, that's 8:15. We gotta. I think I'm gonna guess there's probably security at the athletes' village, things like that. Maybe that's half an hour. The athletes' village is 0.7 miles. I think our corrals were supposed to leave around 9:35 for the start line. It still gives us, even with all those delays, so 8:15 plus 30 minutes for security is 9:45 plus maybe 15 minutes to find where you're at is 9. It still gives us half an hour if things go really, really badly. So I don't know. I'm tempted to just go the one bus later, which is 7:30, or it's 45 minutes later, I think. Which would be less waiting once we get there, but we can figure that out once we're there.
I'm tempted to take an Uber at 9:30. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
no,
I'm kidding.
no, I don't. Well, I mean, maybe, but
Like, what's the worst that, like, worst case, you just go into the next thing, right?
yeah, no, there's nothing that could happen. Yeah, we could do that, but I feel
I
like the
mean,
bus is going to be just as convenient.
yeah, I'm exaggerating, but it feels like they're like over. It feels like I'm traveling with my wife here. Like let's be 7
Yeah.
hours before a
Yeah.
flight.
Well, it's from their perspective. They have a mass of people that they have to flow through the system. They know some of them will go early, some of them will go late. So they're trying to balance that load by
Yeah.
that's why it's strongly recommended to go at 6:45. It's because they want to get as many people. But like if everyone does like us and goes at 7:30, that might cause problems, right?
Yeah. But New York, we kind of followed the recommended strategy that you'd read online kind of thing. And we
Mhm.
had 2 full hours to kill.
Yeah, we had a lot of time to kill, so I wouldn't mind having to kill a bit less.
Okay. So we'll leave that up in the air, but that's recommended 6:45, which means like you're getting up at 6
Yeah,
or
but like, yeah, are we going to be sleeping in that day?
I sleep. I usually sleep. I think I'll
Yeah,
be sleeping.
maybe that'd be nice.
Like you're gonna be up at 4. No, you're gonna be up at 5 naturally.
I don't know. No, I mean, so it's Eastern's time zone, right?
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're an hour ahead of us.
Yeah,
So
it's the
I
opposite.
would say for me, like probably a natural would be like um
7.
6 my time, which would be 7 their time, right?
Yeah,
So that could
that's
work.
that's not bad. So one of the I randomly bumped into someone here who's this week happened. I've never met anyone. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's finished the Boston Marathon. Wow, that's not true. I know one guy, but she had finished the Boston Marathon, and she was just randomly with some of my clients. And I started talking, and and I asked her for some tips, and she said that morning is so hectic, and one of the things she said is you're gonna feel like it's taking you forever to get going and to get racing. And she said take more nutrition than you think you need because it's a 10 a.m. start and not a 7 a.m. start. You have 3 hours where your body's just gonna be hungrier. So that was her one tip. So obviously, we're going to get up, we're going to crush whatever oatmeal you crush. Then we're going to get on this bus. We're going to make our way down there. We're going to hurry up and wait.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then we fly out on the Saturday. The race is on a Monday. For those that don't know, Boston Marathon is on a Monday. Monday, the Patriots Day, I believe it's called in the U.S. The Boston Red Sox always play. It's a holiday in Massachusetts. It's a holiday, but I don't think it's not a national holiday. It's just a holiday in Massachusetts.
I'm not sure. It's a holiday in Massachusetts for sure.
Yeah,
I think it might be in other states too, but not a national holiday.
yeah. So there's a lot of people off. So I guess they get big crowds once it gets closer to Boston, right? Sorry.
There's a couple spots along the route where there are big crowds. Yeah, but I don't know for sure. I know the Wellesley area, which is like just before the half, is kind of famous. They call it the Scream Tunnel. It's these college students, women's college students, just cheering on all the runners.
The
So
Scream Tunnel. Okay.
yeah,
I love these terms. And it's okay. So we fly out on a Saturday. Bib pickup, I'm guessing, is all day Saturday, all day Sunday somewhere, sometime.
yeah. All day Saturday for sure. Yep.
We're gonna check out the expo. Before we get into that, um, or no, no, let's get into that. So, in New York, we checked out the expo, but we went straight from the airport. So we had our luggage still. We went straight from the airport. What did you think of the expo in New York? It was okay. It was kind of cool. It was
Yeah, I mean it's the expo in New York was huge. There was lots of things. It's not really my type of thing. I mean, so one of the things I did like was like some of the history they showed, and some of the maybe they showed the route in like a like a big model of the
yeah.
route,
I made a
things like
TikTok
that.
video.
Yeah, things like that were kind of cool. The talks about the course were interesting, but like it to me, it's not a place where I want to spend too much time. But
Get in, pick up your bib, get out.
yeah, what about you? What were your favorite things of New York Expo?
I don't think there were many cool. There was the one floor map and there was the wall elevation thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of the first time I learned about the course. I mean, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So we'll check it out. Obviously, there's 45,000 runners at this race.
I think
Yeah, that's what
I think less than that, but
or
maybe yeah.
42. It's above 40.
Okay.
And our bib numbers, what's your bib number? I'm like 5,000 something.
4696.
I'm 5,800. So you assume or you know that they seat you in order?
I assume because I kind of know there's a bunch of people from Manitoba that I know kind of qualified and what their numbers are, and it seems to make sense. Like we're close, but I know my time was like 2 minutes faster than yours, so it's like that difference kind of makes sense to me. I'm assuming that that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Boston Marathon pickup pass. What am I? I am where is my bib
You're
number?
5,000 something.
So there's a link to pick up the pass at DigiPass.
Yeah, I have my Digipass already.
5479. 5479.
Yeah, 5479. So that kind of explains the difference. Yeah.
So we're in the top kind of decile of times in that, if that's accurate, or top 15%.
Yeah, because most people who qualify are either, so I mean, a large portion of people that qualify don't need to do 310, right?
Yeah,
Because for women it's usually 15, I think it's about 15 more usually.
20, I believe.
20 maybe.
Yeah,
And
20
then
on the
and then
nose.
as you get older, there's more time, right? So a large portion of the people that qualify don't need to run under 310, right?
Plus, we're in the fastest, like 7 minutes, 8, 9 minutes below the cutoff time is a big move on the bell curve, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're 255 or whatever you ran. Okay, so the strategy for running a 3 hour Boston Marathon. Big
Yeah.
picture. Talk me through
Yeah.
it. Big picture.
Okay, can you pull up the map? So big picture is, to me, just to really oversimplify this to start,
Yeah,
is
big
there's
picture first. Yeah.
yeah, so is that the Boston Marathon is, there's three kind of distinct sections to it. There's miles 1 to 16, which is downhill and fast. There are, so if you go all the way to mile 16, and then there's miles 17 to 21.
Yeah, I
Oh,
have them
looks
in two. I have them in two separate files here. So
Yeah, okay. And then there's miles 17 to 21, which are the Newton Hills, which is the hardest section of the course because there's 4 significant hills on those 5 miles. And then there's miles 21 to 26.2, which is mostly downhill. So yeah, so there you go, 21 to 26.2. So once you hit Heartbreak Hill, you'll be at the end of mile 21, and that's all downhill. So the key thing, as far as strategy is concerned, the difference between this and a flat marathon is that you really need to conserve your energy even more than a regular marathon because of 3 different reasons, but all related. So the first reason is it'll feel really good running downhill and running fast, and you'll want to run a lot faster than what you should because it'll feel so easy. But it's still going to put strain on your legs, even though you're kind of going downhill. The second part, why you want to conserve even more than usual, and I'm not an expert, I've never run Boston, but this is kind of what I've kind of, my research has led me to. And then the second part is from mile 17 to 21, you kind of need to save some energy for those miles because they're going to be uphill and they're going to be hard. But you don't want to go too hard on these miles, but you still want to save energy for those miles. And then the third reason, which is the most important reason why you want to conserve, is that the miles from 21 to 26.2, you can if you have energy and if you're fresh for those miles, you can really run those fast because they're downhill. But if you've kind of blown out your legs in the first 21 miles, or you've kind of finished, you've kind of you're just tired by then it's not going to be, no matter how downhill it is, you won't be able to take advantage of those miles, right? So for those 3 reasons, it's the difference between a normal strategy, which might be just kind of conserving a little bit and then saving a little bit for the end, which would be kind of the normal strategy for a marathon. This marathon is even more important to conserve even more up to mile 21.
Okay.
So how fresh you are at mile 21 will determine your time, right?
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. So let's just back it up, slow down. Let's start at the beginning. So really good, three good reasons why you think you need to be aware of this.
Yeah.
And I would agree. But the race itself, if we think of the elevation, it starts at 450 feet, give or take, at the Hopkinton at the start, and it
Yeah.
finishes pretty much at zero at sea level. So
Yeah.
you're losing, you're gaining, or I guess you're going downhill 450 feet roughly. And if you break it down, the first 16 miles, you end up going down about 400 of those feet. So
Yeah.
um, you had told me, I think when you were describing it to me on the weekend, you said it's pretty much straight downhill the first 16 miles. Well, it is, but obviously there's going to be hills in there. Like even if you look at this first mile, yes, you
Yeah.
lose 150 feet almost in the first 3/4 of 1 mile.
Which is going to be really, really downhill. Yeah. So mile one is the most downhill mile of the marathon is
But
another
you
thing.
end up having to go up 50, 60 feet
Yeah. So
here.
there's
So
a
it's
small hill at the end. Yeah. Of mile one.
so it's like this is divided into quarter miles. So it's
Yeah.
really like 2/3 of a mile straight downhill and then about a third of a mile uphill.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's more of those. Like there's some hills, there's kind of hills all the
Yeah.
way, but it definitely is downhill. Now, if we want to do a 3 hour marathon, we're looking at 6:52.
Yeah. So back to kind of the original overarching plan. So if I break that down now into these sections, is for the first 16 miles, I feel like going slightly under the marathon pace, is where you want to be, because those miles are downhill. They're going to feel a lot easier. So even if like you kind of want to be at like a 5, I would say in terms of effort. So you're hoping that your 5 of effort for miles 1 to 16 is about a 6:47 per mile, or like 5 seconds under per mile, so that you can. It's not really banking time in this case, because it's really just giving you what the course it gives you. So I feel like maybe 5 seconds a mile should actually feel super, super easy uh, compared to your normal pace, right? So that would be about a 129 half, which would be my target, and then maybe gain another 30 seconds from mile 13 to 16, because 16 is extremely downhill.
Okay, first time I see this elevation chart, so I'm looking at it for the very first time along with our viewers. Miles 1 to 4 are unequivocally a lot downhill. 450 to
Yeah,
this right here is about 175 feet here at mile 4.
yeah,
But if you look at the next 12 miles from the
yeah,
bottom of mile 4 here, mile
yeah.
4, there's no elevation change from 4 to 6,
Up 4 to 12.
4 to
16
15,
is
4 to 15.
15. 16 is significantly downhill.
Yeah, so you have 11 miles there where it's
Yeah, so that's
largely flat.
yeah,
So
so that's
sorry,
where the
just let me finish. So you have about 11 miles there that's largely flat, which have inside of them hill down, hill down,
yeah.
hill. There's some here, like at a mile 11 here, there's going to be a hill, and then you go down for a few miles, and you go up at mile 14, 15. But it's really net between 4 and 15, net flat. So a lot of downhill in the first 4 miles, a lot.
Well, you're still a little. It's net downhill still
No,
for
it's not,
15,
Charlie. 175 exactly at 4 miles. And if you
and
go to
150 at 15. So,
no, at the end of 15, you're at 175.
well, that doesn't look like that on my chart. That looks like 150.
You mad at me now? You're upset? You're angry?
No, no,
Bring
it's
it up.
just that it is slightly downhill.
Is that not 175 right here at
Okay,
mile
so it's almost flat. Yeah, 160, I would say, but yeah.
exactly at mile 15 is above 175.
Well, that's not how it looks like on my map, but it doesn't
100.
matter. So it's flat, okay? It's fine. It's slightly downhill. No big deal.
Okay, so 16 is way more downhill than I thought it was. I had no clue that there was like that's going to be a very downhill mile.
Very, very much downhill. Yes.
And you kind of get it all quick, so you don't really get potentially not that much of a chance to gain anything, right? Sometimes when it's too quick, you don't.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we'll have to gauge is really you want that feeling to be easy, but not you don't want to break yourself too much so that you're wasting energy, right? So back to what I was saying is I think the first 5 miles are, or let's say the first 4 miles is significantly downhill. Those are like your free miles. You want it to be like super easy, and you're only going like 647. But because it's so downhill, that's going to feel extremely easy. And then miles, to me, miles 4 to 16 and maybe 4 to 15, then you're just trying to hit your 650, basically your pace, right? And then mile 16, you might gain 20 seconds on that extreme downhill. And that gets you to about a minute to a minute and a half under your pace by the time you hit the Newton Hills.
Yeah, because that's going to be tough in the Newton Hills, right? Because mile 16, 17 is up, 8, like there's all these hills after that.
Yeah, so there's 4 significant hills in the Newton Hills. And to me, the way I remember them is there's a long one at the beginning of mile 16.
Yeah.
There's a steep one at the end of mile 17.
Yeah, right here.
Sorry, I said that wrong.
Yeah, no,
17 and 18. It's actually mile 17, like it's after 16.
Oh, right.
So yeah,
Sorry. So it's
I was one
approaching.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, approaching those miles. And
Yeah.
then mile 19 is actually a straight downhill or a
Straight
net.
down, yeah.
So that to me is going to be, as far as strategy is concerned, I plan on like using that as like a rest mile. Like we're just going to go 7 minute per miles or whatever, but just super easy to kind of recover from those first 2 hills because there's 2 other big hills coming. And then the hill on mile 20 is short but steep. And then of course mile 21 is Heartbreak Hill. It's got a name, so it's not going to be that easy. So my plan for those 5 miles would be to like average that out so that minute and a half you've gained, give it all back. At least give it all back, even more if you have to, right?
And remind me how it's a minute and a half again. It's 20 seconds for mile 16. I missed that.
Just 5 seconds per mile.
5 seconds per mile.
To make the math simple, like, yeah.
Okay. So
basically
5 seconds per mile, minute and a half in the bank before you hit mile 17.
Yeah.
And then the 4 hills look comparable, actually. Like Heartbreak Hill and Hill on 16, those look very similar.
So yeah, it's maybe not easy to tell on this graph, but from what I've heard people talk and like I've read charts and stuff, is that the first one and the last one are longer,
yeah,
but not as steep. And the 2 middle ones are steeper, but not as long.
Right. It looks like the second of the 4 hills will be I think probably the hardest, the steepest in mile 18. And the one in mile 20, the start of mile 20, looks like it's kind of two step, like a bit of a hill and then a flat.
Yeah. So from what a lot of people think that second one is Heartbreak Hill, that little second one, the little step, the third one there.
Okay, and then they don't know that there's another
That's not Heartbreak Hill. Yeah. So that's it. We'll make sure we know that Heartbreak Hill is on mile 21, is after you pass mile 20.
Right. It doesn't start till like 20 and almost a half, 20 and a quarter.
And it pretty much crests. So there's 2 little bumps there. It pretty much crests right at mile 21. Yeah. So once you're done mile 21, you got 5.2.
It's about half a mile. It's about half a mile of a hill.
Yeah. 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 But that's long, right? So
no. I know.
But not as long as the bridges in New York. I was looking at it, like mile 16 in New York. That's like almost a full mile, that one.
And what was the elevation changes? Would it be comparable to this, you think? I'm
not sure. I would say maybe a little less, but it was a full mile long, right? So
yeah. So the hill on mile 17 is slightly longer, almost 2/3 of a mile.
Yeah.
Slightly long. Okay, and then you crest at mile 21. You hit mile 21 and you now have 5.1 miles left,
Yeah.
and you are still at I don't know, 300 feet or whatever of
Yeah.
elevation. No, sorry, 250 feet of elevation, not quite. And you know you have 250 feet of downhill coming up. Now it's not perfectly straight linear, but it's looks pretty darn good. So mile 22 downhill, mile 23 downhill, mile 24 downhill, mile 25 pretty much downhill.
And then flat at the end. Although there are some uphills at the end.
Yeah.
There is an underpass, a pedestrian underpass, with like 1K left, which looks hard actually. I mean, you're going. It's like the ones in SoCal.
Okay, yeah,
You
yeah.
go
Like,
you go under and then go back up with 1K left. It's going to be hard at that point in the race, but
so you're a minute ahead, you're a minute and a half ahead. You give it up in those 4 miles, 17 to 21, right?
5 miles. So there's four hills, but
Yeah,
mile 19 isn't mile 19's in the middle, and that's the free mile. The rest, I'm going to call that our rest mile.
yeah,
So one of the things that people say is that don't go too hard on that mile because it starts feel you're downhill all of a sudden, right? And you feel good. So yeah, for sure, going to use that as a rest mile and not worried about giving up all the time that we gained, but we didn't really gain. It's just that the downhill gave it to us, right? From
yeah. The
miles one
course
to six.
that you took from the course,
Yeah,
seconds that you took from the course.
yeah.
So a minute
That
and a
so
half.
so Mike Tyson has a quote. I think it's something like, "You can plan all you want, but your plan goes out the window once you get punched in the
Punch
face,"
in
or
the
something like
face.
that.
Yeah,
I don't know what
that's
it is, but
I think
I
that's
think
exactly it.
so. I think a marathon's kind of like that. You plan, and it just gives you a bit of some security or some thoughts on how you want to run it. But then you kind of got to go by feel once you start, right? So as far as the plan by feel, to me, it's maybe 4 or 5 for the first 4 miles in terms of effort. Then it slowly picks up to a 6, and then once you get to Newton, you might want to be at like a 7, and then the last 5 miles just go, right? So
What's your biggest worry about this race? Because, okay, some of the worries that you mentioned to me in the past are going out too fast, leaving too much in the tank, whatever. Like, what's most likely going to derail this for you?
me, it's my hamstring.
Okay.
Very specific
Okay.
answer.
Let's leave the injury out. Let's
It's
assume
not
that
an
you.
injury. It's just that every time I run long, it tightens up sometimes. So
Okay.
New York, the last 2 miles, it was like super tight. I had a hard time running because of my hamstring.
Let me rephrase the question. Are you more worried about going out slow and leaving time on the course and not being able to make it back because of the hills and all that?
No,
Or
no,
are
I'm
you,
more worried
or
about going too fast.
okay. And then going out too fast, killing yourself, not being able to do the hills, and then you're not bonked, but you just don't have enough to come back.
Yeah, yeah, because it's gonna feel like I feel like with the training and the tapering and everything, that 6:45 downhill is gonna feel. I feel like it's gonna feel super easy on race day to start. Um, so yeah, so there's two worries. First worry is it feels super easy and I go too fast. The second worry is what if it doesn't feel super easy? Uh,
Yeah.
then then uh, then I might not have to just back off. But so that's kind of how it's like New York was to me, was like I was expecting my pace to feel a lot easier, but it didn't feel easy. And I was able to maintain it up to 19, but I guess I just didn't have it that day. So um, so I would like to have the problem where it feels too easy, because then it's just a mental. I just got to make sure I back off, right?
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. Uh, if it's one of those days like I remember when you told me in SoCal, you're like, I don't have it today. Like, you just go kind of thing. If it's one of those days, I feel like I would know pretty early, and I feel like you'd probably know pretty early, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
if the 6:48s are not going, if they're not going down easy.
yeah,
It's like
yeah, exactly.
if you're in an eating contest and you got to eat like 12 eggs or something, and the first two or three are hard, like probably a bad example, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
So
it's like that though. Yeah, they got to go down easy. Like you got to be able to stomach them. Like it's just you got to be able like they got to just kind of fly by those first 10 miles, right? Have to be
I
like
was in a wing eating contest one time, and that's exactly how I felt. I felt like the first 20 wings were they just went down. It was no problem. Like I'm
yeah,
gonna eat 100 wings today. Like I felt that good,
yeah.
and that's how the miles have to feel. You have to feel like they're just disappearing. Now, okay, so that's one situation where if you know kind of what would you say 20 minutes in, half hour in, if I still give it like a half hour because sometimes it takes me that long to warm up.
Yeah, well, so yeah, New York was a great experience for me because that's how I felt the first 3 miles. But then like I kind of rallied from miles 4 to like 15. So it kind of started feeling better. So I feel like I'm not going to give up on it, even if it doesn't feel great right away, at least for a few
Well,
miles.
plus this is different. It's going to be so downhill. We're going to be our
Yeah, yeah,
mental aspect is going to be off. It's going to be wonky because we're like it's so downhill that we should be feeling good, right?
yeah. We should.
Too good.
If we follow the strategy that I'm hoping to follow here, like it really needs to feel super easy, and the downhill is supposed to do that for us, right?
All right. So about 5 to 10 seconds quicker, like 640s in the 640s somewhere in there is what you'd like to do for those first 16 miles.
No, six. I'm gonna target 650 because I want to take it easy, right? Like it's okay. So you kind of there's two things to consider at once, right? Is like the downhill is going to help you, but you still want it to be easy, right? So I'm going to target 650s, which is 2 seconds under. But I know when I target a number, I always end up 2 or 3 seconds below every time. So if I target 650s, I hope to achieve 647s,
Okay.
and then that the plan would be going perfectly. Uh, but that should feel very easy because of how downhill it is. So now that you explained to me that miles 4 to 15 are flat, there's going to be a bit more work to do for those miles. But
Yeah. Okay, so so 5 seconds, 16, there's your 90 seconds. There's your minute and a half. Got it. Okay. So you don't want to be doing 640s. You want to be doing like 648s.
648s, yeah, like, and
647s.
and I feel like that based on my experience running downhill, that should feel fairly easy, at least for the first 5 miles, because
I know what's gonna happen, Charlie. I'm telling you right now, and I think you know what I'm gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah, I know what you're gonna say, yeah,
We're gonna look at each other. We'll be like, "I feel good. You feel good? Yeah, let's go a little faster." And we're gonna
yeah,
go like we're gonna feel so good on the downhill there because we are good downhill runners. One,
yeah,
and we're gonna be so excited, and people are gonna be going way faster than us,
yeah.
and we're gonna be like, shit. Do we stick with the plan? Like that's gonna be the dilemma.
Yeah, so the thing is like there's two different strategies, right? So there's the strategy to what's the strategy that gives us the best chance to go sub 3,
Yep.
right? Which is the hold back strategy. But there's also a strategy of what if we feel really good and we want to go lower than sub 3, right? Which might necessitate a different strategy. So I think for me the number one objective is just to break 3. So I think that's where we'll have to kind of hold back if we
We've
feel
talked
really
about
good.
this before on this podcast.
But
We've
but
talked
for
about it's a tough dilemma. We've talked
yeah,
about this before, and like you're sacrificing a potential PB to lock in a sub, like a shorter goal, like an easier
yeah,
goal.
yeah. Yeah, it's like if you just went for it, let's say, and said, "Okay, uh, I'm gonna not conserve as much," and I just went for it, and then all of a sudden you get to mile 20 or 20, and the hills just kill you, then you lose it, or you get to mile 20 and you lose it by 10 minutes. Let's say the hills kill you and you may do a 310 instead, right? Or because you get to the top and you just can't run anymore, or you get to there and you still feel great and then you do a 254.
Yeah,
There's all that uncertainty anytime you run a marathon, and it's gonna to me it's always like a benefit cost analysis on what you want your result to be, right? So
yeah, Yeah, we, I think, yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time keeping. You're gonna just go. I know what's gonna happen. I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna stick to the plan that you drew out for us,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be way ahead.
Well, and then the other thing is on race day, you're not maybe thinking as clearly as when you devise the plan, and you're like, oh, I feel like maybe I want to bank some time here and go
This is what
640,
happens all the time. Why don't I just bank
640,
some time and then I can
which is
run.
really a bad strategy if you're just trying to do three, right? Because banking time, like you're gonna lose it. Whatever you bank now, you're going to lose it more at the end, right? If it's too much, unless you have the fitness to do it, right? Um, so, but if you have the fitness to do it, you can gain it back at the end either, right? So
At
either
what
you have,
number? At what number do you kind of say, okay, so let's assume it's going so good, and you're like, oh my
yeah,
God, I'm killing this. I'm like, I'm jogging right now. I'm barely even
yeah,
trying. It's such a long way to wait for mile 17 to decide
yeah.
if
It's
you,
a long horizon, right?
yeah. At what point do you go, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm not gonna jog this race. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
go.
So
Do
that's
you
a tough
not
one.
touch it till 17?
So because Boston is a marathon like I've never run before, where those hills, there's so much uncertainty there, right? Like normally I would say like our last marathon, we got to 17 and I said, okay, it's go time. And I went, right? Because
Yep.
I felt great. But I don't know that I can be that confident in my assessment of how far I can go with those hills at Boston, right? So I think I'm going to force myself to wait till 21 no matter what.
Well, or 17, right? Or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, 17. But if I know a thing that happens to people is they're feeling great at 17, then they go hard on the hills, and then it kills them for the rest of the race, right? So there's a risk of that happening. So like I feel like I'm gonna try to be as disciplined as I can ever be and wait till 21 to say before I try to pick up my pace.
Okay, I'm just looking at the elevation course in Lake Placid because I wanted to try to get a feel for what those hills were. And those hills were 200 feet, 210
Yeah.
feet.
Okay.
There's two of them, 210 feet. What are these?
100 feet maybe.
Those felt like the biggest hills I'd ever run up.
Yeah.
Well, it was a long day. It was the end of the day. Okay, so it'll be a little worse than that. So those are big hills. Like those are pretty big hills.
Oh, easier than these are only 100, I think.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
like people were walking those. Everyone was
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
those.
Well, they biked for 7 hours probably before, right? So
Yeah. And actually they were kind of divided. No, it was two 100-foot hills. So
oh, okay.
it'll be
So
comparable.
here we basically got like four. There's 200-foot hills. No, there's 275-foot. Are these are 50 feet. So 75, 100. Yeah. Anyways, there's four close to 100 feet hills.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it was for Lake Placid. Four 100-foot hills, total gain of 1,600 feet. I don't know what Boston is. Do you know what it is for Boston? The
No,
whole thing?
there's a lot of rolling hills all the way too, eh? So that's
Yeah,
the other part.
I'm
That
thinking it'll be
might, yeah. So I think no matter what, we need to be conservative because it's just going to be harder than we expect, right? Like, or there's a good chance it'll be a lot harder than we expect. Yeah.
891. 891, I think it says.
Okay.
Something like that. So
Not quite as bad as Lake Placid.
yeah, but still an amount. So it just gives me an idea because I remember thinking that that was pretty daunting. But I still jogged the first go around. The second go around, I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to jog those two hills, those 200-foot hills. So there's two loops.
Yeah.
First loop, I jogged them. Second loop, I wasn't able to. Okay.
The advantage here is that we can really like save our energy for them as opposed to like you were dead.
Yeah, we won't have to have jogged or swam 3.8K and biked 180.
Yeah. But that,
Okay,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
exciting.
it's fun. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So,
So last week on the weekend you were talking to me about pacing and I had no clue what I was looking at. I hadn't looked at the course and now I've looked at it and I understand. And do you think you're gonna know, like, do you think you're gonna know the course kind of perfectly on race day? where their hills are and all? Is there a chance you forget?
Well, all I there I know there's a hill at mile 5, and like those I won't remember because I'm kind of oversimplifying it in my head. It's like
Yeah,
16 miles, then 4 hills. Like I won't forget the 4 hills. I know where the four
yeah.
hills are, right?
You're
Like
gonna know where those are, and you might get surprised that there's a hill 5 and 11 and whatever.
yeah, there's a hill at 5, there's a hill at 11. That 11 hill is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it
But
looks long.
then you
It,
get a big downhill right after,
the
right?
whole
So
mile, like the whole mile 11, is kind of a hill
yeah, so well,
ish. I mean,
but
and
it
the end.
ends it ends right before the hard part of the hill is the only thing. So like 12 will
Yeah,
be a fast
12
mile. Even 12 will be a fast mile, but you're starting off on a big
first quarter
uphill.
mile. Yeah, first quarter
Yeah.
miles uphill.
11 is going to be a slow mile probably. 10 and 11 will be slow. And then 5 might be slow too. So 5, 10, 11 might be slightly slower. And then
Are people? Sorry, go ahead.
the rest should just be on pace pretty much, right?
Yeah, are people able to follow live on this thing?
Yeah, well, I don't know how. I think they got every 5K. They got mats.
Okay, so we're
So
gonna
there's
cross, and people are gonna see where we're at,
yeah, yeah,
and we're not gonna be among the leaders, so we're not gonna be on TV. But like the pros,
yeah,
this is last year. Remember, we watched it.
yeah. This is great.
Elliot was. Is this the race? Is this the race where that young guy who now passed away kind of broke through? No, no, no.
No, no, he wasn't in that race.
Okay, but someone else won. Elliot didn't win.
No, no, no. I think yeah. There's another guy that's won quite a few. I forget his name, but
It was fun watching it because I knew that we'd be running it in a year, and I kind of took the morning off, and I was watching the Boston Marathon,
yeah,
like a loser that I was. But okay, so and then you finish downtown. You finish right. What is it on Huntington Avenue, I think, or I don't know what, and you're right downtown. Then there's a party. There's they got a post party, so it's going to be a little bit later finish than we're used to for marathons, right?
yeah,
Because it's going to be like in the afternoon.
yeah.
I
Well,
fly
hopefully around 1.
hopefully around 1. I fly out that night, but we're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk about the race, and one of us will probably be pissed off, and the other will be very happy, probably. And
Whoever whoever gets to the finish line first might be happy.
usually that's how it is. No, on it, man. I think you're gonna have. I really think you're gonna have a good day. I think I've been looking at your races. I think I will have a good day too, though.
Yeah, so you beat me by 6 minutes in our last race in a half marathon. So I don't know.
You've come a long way since then, and hopefully I've at least stayed there.
Yeah.
Like, do you think you've gained? You weren't well
Well,
that day.
this is a really off day for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I've had really
Plus,
good workouts since then. I've had really good workouts since then. Yeah.
I had windbreaker that day.
Yeah, yeah, windbreaker. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. So depending on the wind, we might need to draft ourselves, or at least, if we're against the wind, we might need to think about that.
Yeah, I think we'll just draft others. There should be
Yeah.
so many people to draft. Well,
Yeah,
worst
yeah.
case, we'll draft each other, but
Yeah.
and then we have my dad and my cousin Mini Grains coming. What do you think they're gonna watch? How does this work for watching? They're just gonna stay at the end, I would imagine, and watch. Or what do you think
Yeah,
they're gonna?
well, I'm hoping that
They
someone
can
can
take
give
the subway.
I'm hoping that someone can see us at about mile 16 or 17 and provide a water bottle. One water
Why?
bottle. Why?
Yeah,
Because I feel like I never get enough water in my marathons. So if I be able to just have like a full water bottle
carry it,
around at
drink
around
it.
mile 16, just kind of drink it as I go, as I'm walking up, as I'm not walking. Hopefully, I'm still running. As I'm running up these hills, running a bit slower, it might be good time to kind of get as much water as I can, so that I'm feeling good.
Right as you cross the Charles River, perhaps.
Somewhere around there, yep, would be nice.
Okay, which is right after mile 16. Okay, so I'm pretty sure if you tell Claude you'd like him to bring you a water, he will bring you a water at mile 16.
Yeah.
There's a rail station. Looks like the yellow line goes
I
right.
think the green line goes right at mile 17 or 16.8 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few options. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, this is good. We'll try to anything else you want to add, Charlie?
No, this is good. Can't wait, man. So yeah, just the last 2 weeks when you're have your big marathon coming up, it can feel like it takes forever. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, it's the most you can't stop thinking about the race. You just can't stop.
yeah,
You just want it to come. It's kind of like when you're a kid and Christmas is coming.
yeah,
Or when I started doing my first kind of sports road trips when I was a young
yeah,
adult, and I would go to like see an NFL game or like a trip to Vegas or something, or you go to maybe Miami to see a game, and like you wait and wait and wait for that, and you're just so. And now this is exactly the same, uh, except it's running instead of Christmas and instead of sporting events. Or like I guess people take vacation and they look forward to like I look forward to this more than I look forward to my vacation or my trips of any kind. I don't know about you. Like
yeah.
you look
No,
forward to this
absolutely.
more. Right? There's nothing like Christmas is fun, but like this is Boston Marathon.
Yeah, yeah. It's on par uh, with. I don't know if there's ever been any like. Yeah, it's on par with that marathon we did in LA. Um, Ironman, it's kind of same level for me. Yep.
The one we did in LA was to get here, right? It's very
Yeah.
similar. It's the
Yeah.
same feeling. But that one was more giddy because we knew we had to do something. We had like this, it's exciting, but I mean if we don't have a great day, nothing really happens, right? But
Yeah.
that
I
day,
mean, we're still gonna be basking in the glory of having run Boston, no matter what, right? So,
yeah.
although I like doing well at things, but
Oh, you like doing well at things
yeah,
better than not doing well at things.
yes, yeah.
Okay. 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 Yeah, me too.
But no, I'm sure whatever the result is, it's going to be Boston, and it'll be amazing. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. We'll tune out here. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Strava. Follow us on TikTok. Watch us, like us, subscribe, and go Boston, go. Probably our last episode before the race. We'll try to record one after. Tell you guys how it went. Hopefully, 2 sub 3 hour marathons in our future. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next video.